Hi. So, I just finished Death Stranding. And, no spoilers, but hot damn, was that a ride. And I do mean that in a good way. Jesus. I'm not one for praising God, how do I frame this? I've been accused before of worshipping game developers, and by that I mean one friend during one of his pretentious streaks accused me of, worshipping like Miyamoto. And I guess I want to make it clear that this isn't that. And also keep in mind that I'm riding an emotional high right now. And over the next few days, my opinion may settle. But rarely these days do I get to interact in any sort of way with someone else immediately after finishing a big thing like this. But I have this sort of vlog now to kind of put immediate thoughts down. Granted, the last game I can think of wanting to immediately speak with someone about, or at the very least, just speak about immediately afterwards, was Nier Automata. And I went in Death Stranding just as blind, for the most part. I had seen the first maybe hour of the game. But this fucking game, man. It is such an interesting creature because I've said this multiple times, both on here, I think, and to myself while playing the game. But I can understand why people think the gameplay is boring. And that's why I'm gonna say that even with my level of high praise, I don't think everyone's going to enjoy this as a game. As purely a game. But the whole package is just... I don't want to... It's not like he broke new ground or anything. I mean, no one's ever told... I'm sure you can break this story down into archetypes. Of course you can. Nothing's original anymore. But, hot damn if Kojima didn't find a way to make it really interesting. I don't know how to talk about this game without sounding like I am sucking the farts directly out of Kojima's asshole. I've been watching too much Critical. I loved what this was. I kind of loved the 3-year experience of trying to figure out what it was, followed by what it eventually was. What is that? That is nothing? There's discoloration on my microphone on this part that I almost got into, but that would be awful for audio, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. The ending was very emotional. I can see people saying it's rushed, but at the same time, it was hours. Because little things would get explained that I kind of forgot needed explaining. But just like, let me tell you, the main twist, and me just saying this out loud is not a spoiler, because it won't, like, when you're playing, I don't want to say any more than that, but just the big one at the end fucked me up real good. I was bawling. I really was. I was hurt crying. It was silent because I didn't want to miss anything. But I don't remember the last time I cried like that. I came close at specific moments during Final Fantasy VII Remake, but again, I don't want to spoil that either. Man. And like, I'm glad I played it and didn't just watch it. Because, you know, I see so many people going online. I say that. I've seen a few people online talk about how they just looked up the movie, which basically all of the cutscenes, and got everything they wanted out of it. But like, I can almost, well, I mean, I think this is a given, but it's like, I can guarantee you did not get the same thing out of it I did. Like, even had I hated the gameplay all the way through, playing it made the story so much heavier. And saying that out loud, my brain goes, well, of course it did, it's a fucking game, you idiot. That's the point. But and you know, maybe that part of my head is right. I went on the other day about game OSTs meaning more to people because they're playing the game. So maybe it's a similar thing where a story's going to hit harder if you're in control of the game, or at the very least, you're watching the entire journey and not just the story bits. You know, like watching a stream of it with, I'd say specifically a stream of it with friends you are interacting with. Maybe not a stream. Maybe your significant, like your partner, your roommate, or whatever is playing it, and you're watching. I think you'd still be able to get it out of that, being present for the whole journey. You know what I mean? And even then, I think you're more directly connected to it than, say, watching someone like Vinny stream it with that size of an audience. As good as he does, you know, you're still gonna. There's still going to be a fairly impersonal level of removal from playing it yourself, because while you do get Vinny's thoughts while he plays games, you don't really get to have a rapport with him like you would with a significant other, or a partner, or a roommate, or something like that. So like, if you're just, so when I say that, I more mean the type of streams that I'm in on the Discord, where it's basically just sitting on a couch with your friends while playing a game, except that we're not in the same room because countries are a thing. Meaning something happens and you can immediately discuss it with that person in real time, and not just like shout it into the void of a chat room and hope the streamer sees it. And even then, you know, you have the, well, did they read the question right? Did they give an adequate enough answer? Do I try to post this follow-up? You know, so like you can actually have when you can actually have a conversation with the person playing the game, a constant one, or at the very least that option is always there. I feel like you can be pretty close to the game. I don't know where I got on that tangent from, but basically, like, again, not spoiling why, but when I hit the ending and I hit, you know, some of the bigger emotional bits hit, in the back of my brain I was thinking I would not be sitting here literally crying. I probably would be tearing up, but I would not be pretty much bawling my eyes out if I hadn't played this. I guess is where I'm going with that. And it's been such a weird state of mind for me playing this game. I am obsessive about things. When it comes to a game or a show or something like that, I am a bit of an I'm, you know, fairly obsessive in that I'm not just going to pick up and put it down. You know, this last, what's today? I don't know. It's Wednesday? Or is it Thursday? It is Thursday. I got this Monday before last. So, I mean, it was well over 100 hours. But like 1 week, 2, 3... This week in 3 days worth has been, you know, when I was replaying games recently, like replaying Monster Hunter World basically, or even when I got into the new stuff, I was still kind of just replaying Monster Hunter World. My focus was always sort of divided because I'd played it before. So I'd wake up, do Genshin, and then boot up Monster Hunter World, pull up something on the side, and be halfway doing both, halfway listening to that while mostly playing Monster Hunter. There were times where Monster Hunter demanded my full attention. The Behemoth comes to mind. But a lot of the base game was pretty much just go in, get it done, move on, because I'd done it all before. And also, that's a very different type of game. A better example would probably be the first time I played... A better recent example, anyway, would be my first playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Which is ultimately where I'm going with this, I just realized. Anyway, my point being, shortly into starting Death Stranding, there was no more daily Genshin. And for the most part of the day, there was no background noise unless I knew what I was doing was absolutely not going to trigger something I wanted to hear. And so... And time moved quick. I guess that means that what I was doing took a long time, but like it didn't feel like it when I was playing it. I'd pick up a couple of orders, plan out a route, pick up a few more orders, usually on the way. And by the time I cleared out all my orders, I'd been playing for like 4 hours, and it did not feel like that. And minimal to no background noise unless I, was really doing a long slog. Like, a good example is I spent like a good chunk of a day setting up zip lines and stuff just for fun. And during that, I had on a lot of background noise. But for the most part, it was just like, I'd be like, I should put something on. Let me finish up what I'm doing, and then I just keep playing. And it really immersed me in this isolation, but not in a bad way. I didn't feel like I was being forcibly cut off from the world. I didn't feel like I was slipping into one of my reclusive episodes where I don't want to interact with anybody, even though that kind of happened. Between focusing heavy on Age of Calamity and focusing heavy on this. And by that I just mean, not sitting in a stream while I'm playing the game, so that, like, if something comes up, I'm worried I'll miss it. Like, for the beginning of the day, I spent hanging out with friends in the stream. Couldn't watch it, really, because the internet was being a pain in the ass. But, it's the first time in a while I've sat in on a stream, and that was great. We watched Dinner for One, I think it's called, which was a really funny little short sketch, 10-15 minutes, something like that. It's just really nice. It's apparently a German New Year classic for some reason. And I say it like that because even, like, my friend that was showing it to us, who is German, is like, I don't know why it is either, it just is. It's not even a German production. But, and then they started watching Gremlins, and at about that time, I had to duck out because I knew that more or less the ending of Death Stranding was waiting for me, and I couldn't keep myself away from it. Because, like, once I started that rabbit trail last night after uploading and everything, I had just been viciously chasing it, thinking, oh, this is definitely the cutoff point. And I was like, alright, this is definitely the cutoff point. I can do this next section and we'll be good. Nope. And then this morning, when I did hit point of no return, it still took a while. Oh, man. I hope I'm not playing this up too much. And by that I mean, one, I do hope the ending was actually this good to me and this doesn't, like, wear off later and I feel like crap. But also, I know for a fact one friend's considering getting this and another one just got it and is deciding when to start it. And I don't want to play it up so much that it doesn't meet expectations. So, like, again, I'll just say go in, blank slate. All I want you to know is that I really enjoyed it. I really did. That is my subjective opinion. It was really great. The game was fun to play for me. It isn't something you can sprint all the way through, not from the beginning. Towards the end, when you've learned the ins and outs of the game and, built up reputation with certain people so you can get better equipment, you can sprint through it a lot more, and there are certain obstacles that seem insurmountable within the first two hours that you are practically laughing at by the end of the game. But I feel like a lot of people saw that took that first 2 to 5 to even 10 hours and thought, there's no way this is getting any better, and then walked away. And I'll guarantee a lot of them never even got to the main area of the game. And I don't say that to sort of thumb my nose at them and go, these people didn't even play the game. What are they, journalists? But but what I mean is, it's more of a, I wish everyone got to have my experience with this game. In that, I really found something special in this game. Will I ever replay it top to bottom again? I highly doubt it. And if I do, I definitely won't spend... Well, not anytime soon, anyway. I don't want to... I'll immediately backtracking. If I do, it'll be at least a year down the line. And for one, I won't be as cinematic about it. And by that I mean, especially whenever music kicked in, I took things extra slow and just soaked it in. And I don't know if that would all scan as well as it did the first time on a second playthrough. You know what I mean? I don't know if, like, but who knows? I had a similar thing with Breath of the Wild, where my first time through it, I kind of rushed. And I regretted it immediately. Like, when I just kind of rushed to see the ending. And almost immediately started playing it again. That's not something I usually do with games of that scale. But I did, and the second playthrough was much better. And then later I played it a third time, and as beautiful as the world is, and as much as I ultimately enjoy it, I found myself rushing, doing a lot of warping. I just, the game had become a checklist, and I hated that. So I went back and I started a master mode playthrough and used no fast traveling. If I wanted to go somewhere, I had to walk or get on a horse. And immediately, even though the experience was maybe 4 or 5 times as long as it would have been otherwise, it was so much more enjoyable to exist in Hyrule like that instead of hopping all over the place. Now, of course, when I got towards the end of the game, I amended my rule a little bit to, if I can get to a warp gate, if I can get to where a warp is active, then I can warp. So like if I was in the middle of nowhere and I wanted to warp, I had to find a shrine first, that kind of thing. And even that was still really fun. It brought a new level of fun out of the game to me. Do I think the game should limit everyone like that? No. Not everyone is absolutely as insane as I am. You know? Yeah. Still, I don't want this to go on as long as the last few days have, so... Death Stranding. Good stuff. Messed me up real good right at the end. Gotta give it to Kojima, because even though I can see his little... I didn't grow up with Metal Gear. I've only played for myself 4 and 5, honestly. Just 4 and 5. But I've seen the story of the whole series through Vinny, for the most part. He has the entire mainline Metal Gear franchise, plus all but like the first mission of Peace Walker, because he didn't think he was going to end up streaming that whole thing, and Revengeance on his channel. So that's Metal Gear Solids 1 through 5, as well as Peace Walker. And of course, Ground Zeroes. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Ground Zeroes is just Metal Gear Solid 5. It's just the prologue to Metal Gear Solid 5. An extensive one, not unlike that's not a bad analogy actually. The first little area in Death Stranding is kind of like Ground Zeroes, except it sets up the arcing story more. So I guess imagine if... No, that's still a real good way to explain it, except that you've got a lot more to play around in, but I guess less to do in it. So yeah, it's like the first the first area you're in before you move to the second big area is kind of the ground zeros to the meat of Death Stranding. But the point I was making is, I can't speak for, Kojima's entire lexicon. But as complicated as it can be on the surface, I like his storytelling. I just, is it a little heavy-handed at times? Yeah. I think he's a bit of an idealist. And that can come across as preachy if it's done wrong, and sometimes it is. But for the most part, it doesn't come across as, haha, I am an artiste. Do you see the point I am making? Me, the artiste? It feels more genuine for the most part. Even if the ultimate message is sometimes a little weird or a little heavy-handed. A decent example that comes to mind is sort of Interstellar. It was kind of idealistic about human society in the beginning, but it didn't take away from it all that much. Death Stranding's a bit idealistic about certain things, and at some points you're rolling your eyes like, come on, get on with it. Or we all know that's not going to happen, especially not in today's political climate. Things like that. But you really get a sense that like I said, you get that sense that Kojima's not just, showing off his big boy artist underwear. He is telling a story that he wants to tell. But like he really believes in the things he's preaching about. In these things, it's like he just genuinely believes it, and it's not driven home because I'm not explaining this well. I'm tired. I'm emotionally drained from that ending. In a good way. Man. I think he's a lot more genuine than people give him credit for. Same with Nomura. And I am specifically talking about Kingdom Hearts. I think he's more genuine and than his stories get him credit for. Let's say it that way. There's the joke on Vinny's streams, genius Kajumbo. But like, and I could be completely wrong. It's obviously he does, like, obviously Vinny's joking around. He did grow up with Metal Gear Solid. It does mean a lot to him, that kind of thing. But more so than that, it's like, more so than that is it's fun to make that joke between, when you hear Kojima talking about things like there's not dislike, you can like structures but you can't dislike them because he just wants to breed positivity, and you can, and like I genuinely think that comes from a place of, I see so much vile hate spewed forth on the internet that I'm not gonna let my game be used to propagate that. But it can come across as, I am breeding a perfectly positive experience that no one will sully. I'm not explaining this well. playing this through to the end, seeing the real human bits of it that he wanted to, that he wove into it. I just, I feel he's a lot more genuine than people sometimes give him credit for. And, I'm not going to go out and call him a genius, but I do like his storytelling. And I know that regardless of what it is, I can pretty much hands down guarantee that whatever he does next will be interesting. Will it be good? Can't promise that. Will it be well loved by some people? Sure. Will it be, but I can tell you it'll probably be weird, and it will absolutely be interesting. Because that's just this man's brain, and I'm happy he shares it with us, because life is more interesting for it. I also think if this game had come out after the pandemic, more people would have sat down and played it, if that makes sense. Like, it's one of those that demands a certain amount of your time to enjoy it, and that's why I'm happy saying it's not for everyone, and I don't expect most people to get half of what I did out of it. And honestly, any other year or at a different point in this year, it probably wouldn't have hit the same. But man, if I didn't thread it just right, that's two games that I've gotten really lucky with in that sense. The first one, another one being Persona 5. I was very lucky with the timing of playing it, in that I have a unique relationship with that game because of what was going on in my life when I first started playing that game, and what happened during that playthrough, But that's a story for another time, if I even feel like telling it, or if it becomes relevant. For tonight, it's New Year's Eve. It'll be 2021 in a little over an hour where I live, and if the rain's let up, I'll probably end the year in the same spot I began it, which was sitting on the top step of our front porch. The sky will have cleared, so I won't be able to be looking at the stars, which is strangely poetic with one of the themes of Death Stranding. But that's something I kind of want to complete the circle like that. And I might document some thoughts at the time, and if so, you'll see those tomorrow. But I honestly might just use it as an opportunity to spend a few more minutes alone with my thoughts, like Death Stranding has been letting me do. Because while this year wasn't great, honestly, it was kind of terrible, if you really look at it in perspective. But if I reflect on myself, it was the year I started getting help again. It was the year I actually started wanting a life. Because there's a difference between wanting to live and wanting a life. And I rediscovered that this year. Reconnected with old friends. It's been a lot this year. And honestly, with everything going on in the world, the end result for me personally is a bit more positive than it has any business being. And that's not something I get to enjoy often. But I think I'll appreciate it a little more with the symmetry of spending the last 5 minutes of this year and the first 5 minutes of next year on the front porch, enjoying the cold and, weather permitting, looking at the stars. So yeah, hopefully I get to do that. And either way, I'll see you next year. Well, honestly, most people are probably going to watch this after New Year. Whatever.